Well, Mike, you can't be in here.
Yeah, you can't be in voice chat with us.
I'm so sorry, dude.
All right.
Oh.
I'm just doing a bit of a VOD review. This was game one of Open Div. I've already watched this VOD before. So I figured I might as well do a VOD review for you guys. Because I don't think I can make this Friday, so it'd have to be like next Friday or Monday or something, or it'd have to most likely be next week. Um, for us to do like a team VOD review. So I'm just recording real quick for you guys. To just so we can get one this week, because I wanted to get one this weekend. Yeah, this game was very very winnable. Like the enemy team, um like you said, I believe in the recording, they were like platinum and diamond, but they made a shit ton of mistakes that you definitely could have capitalized on. Um, and from what I recall, your comps weren't too bad. You just didn't play them necessarily to like their optimal level. To be honest, TBH, but overall, it was very winnable. But that's enough of the preface for for this video. Now I'll just skip to the actual game and turn the volume back up to hear your comms.
Ben Shapiro.
I just want to test my frame rate real quick.
Um,
if I ever heard of
fun fact: I've played against Ben Shapiro on my lower accounts.
Oh my god, is this one?
No, we aren't in the thing yet. I'm not picking a real character. Shit.
Okay, and here I was about to be a scrub and just click this.
They're going goats with
Are you sure about that? Because I checked their stats and they don't have a brig player.
They're going Maygoats for sure.
Alright,
Did you check their thing?
Maygoats.
I looked at the heroes they're picking.
Maygoats on village.
We can do.
You
do 3, 2.
Yeah.
Or we can go to that if you want.
Yeah,
you can definitely play goats into into Maygoats. You just got to be very careful of the wall and make sure that you don't use your speed. You either all like line up as a team to speed in. Also Somber Goats is a pretty good comp. I will say here, there is one major problem in your team composition. Right now you're playing Lucio Moira with triple tank, with like goats tanks. In this situation, if you're trying to play Sombra goats, you want to drop the diva, and you want to drop the diva and and then have that diva player play Brigitte. Because you need the triple support if you want to play goats like this with Sombra, which isn't bad. Because you're just playing around EMP and EMP grab and stuff like that, and potentially EMP shatter. It depends what you can coordinate, but and how fast your EMP charges. Because if you're just getting shit tons of EMP charge and like getting it like every single fight, then you can just use it for like each one of your tank alts. It just depends. But yeah, the one big flaw is the lack of a Brigitte here. But you would have to have the Zarya just to make sure that you can cleanse purples if they run an Ana / cleanse Discord off of your main tank, so he doesn't get so like hardcore melted by their Zen if they do have a Zen. Because that Discord really makes it very difficult for a main tank to do his job. So, but let's start this bad boy back up.
We got a good comp going. Wait, we lost someone in chat. Oh, EG, you dropped out of chat. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, this is an interesting call. Yeah, I guess this is 3, 2, 1.
Alright, let's go topside.
It's different.
Remember, Sinai's, you're doing
The thing,
Alex,
maybe.
role management.
Yep.
Good. You've got
Drop down left side.
Wait, what do they got?
You've got roll set, so that's good.
We're gonna break into them. We're going after the Reinhardt first. Reinhardt first. Reinhardt first. Survive. Back off. Everyone back. Lost fight.
Here, if it's Maygoats, you just need to make sure that you guys all go in together and line up and then speed in. Or maybe potentially like try to have, or try to like take it slow and kind of like bait out the May wall and then rotate around. And then they won't have May wall to the other side that doesn't have May wall. There, I believe it was just your Zarya and your Reinhardt that got through. And the May wall wasn't necessarily the greatest because there was still like a gap on the left side that you could get in through. But it's still just those extra couple seconds can really hurt the team. There, potentially your main tank should have just shielded the moment the wall came through and just double checked if you're who got through and who didn't, and to see like if there was like a gap in the May wall. And if there was a gap, then faces little behind next to the gap in the wall, and like hope that your team goes through that gap. If not, then he's just gonna, your main tank and whoever else got through is just gonna die, which it is what it is. It's Maygoat, so. Also, you could have potentially waited for your Sombra to set up and scout and be like, hey, they're running Maygoats here. Give me a second. I need to set up, and then I'm going to try to look for a hack on the May. That's also a very viable thing you could have done as well. But you kind of, unfortunately, you guys just went in there and got cut off, and obviously, people died. But
Everyone back. Don't get shot at.
I'm trying.
Alright. We're lining up on the shield. Everyone line up on the shield. Not yet. Line up on the shield. Everyone line up on the shield. Shield. Forward.
Shield's down.
Go.
I hacked back.
Block up.
that was almost like, that was almost
the
really,
situation seems to be.
that was almost really good, because the call to line up on shield there was a good call. It's just you guys took forever to decide that to like get in position to line up on the shield and speed through. And because you guys like took too long, your Ryan's shield just went down and he just got melted there basically. So in that situation, potentially the Reinhardt just like holds the wall there and uses cover to his advantage, and then just says either the Reinhardt or whoever's like shot calling or IGLing, whatever. Shot calling or IGL means in-game leader, and they make the target calls, and then the shot call, which is deciding what comps are being run and then which way you're gonna be going. And like when you're going and stuff like that. So in that situation, your Reinhardt should have been like chilling by the wall potentially, or you guys just need to go faster. So because his shield went down because he was just holding and waiting for you guys to come through, which is unlucky. But hey, it's a maneuver that's not necessarily easy to do yourself. Also, another thing you can do to counter Maygoats, a pretty good way to counter Maygoats, is run Maygoats yourself. The moment you lose that point, you can potentially have your Sombra just swap over to May and then make a like a vertical wall and put that in the choke. So your team can just pass on through. And then like tell your team, "Oh, I'm making like a vertical wall so we can pass through." And then you pass through and then the May can't block you off. That's another thing you can do. Our team on Lijiang Tower on I forget the submap name. It's not Gardens, it's not Night Market, it's the other one. Is it Control Center? It might be Control Center. I forget the name. But in any case, the one that's not Night Market and not Gardens, that one's a very big Maygoats map, and what we like to do is just run Maygoats. And if like we lose the first team fight, we like to just make sure everybody's in sync with each other. And then our May calls like, I'm gonna wall so we can go, and then they wall, we go as a team. Their May can't really do anything about that, and then after that I like because I play Zenyatta, I like Discord their Ryan, I Discord somebody who's out of position, and then we melt that one person. If you see somebody in like goats that's out of position, you Discord that target and you melt them. If no one's really out of position, then you just Discord that Reinhardt and then smash the enemy Reinhardt as hard and as quickly as possible. And force out the enemy team's cooldowns. And then the moment that they've used all their cooldowns, then you go even harder. And since there's no cooldowns, then you can smash the Rein really, really quickly and easily. But yeah.
A problem for y'all.
They
don't have a diva.
I'm fixing it. Everyone group up on the right.
Do you want? I'm gonna go.
Alright.
Yep.
I'm having a lot
Yeah.
of
Wait.
Yeah, traditional comps where you run like Sombra goats or May goats or McCree goats or any of those variations of goats. People drop the diva and keep the break. There we go. Good.
Oh, they messed up shield.
Yeah. Yeah. They just had ult advantage. There's not much you can do about that. But that was definitely very good.
Shatter, they rally.
One of the problems is
We're targeting that Reinhardt first.
one of the problems with doing swaps on control points is, generally speaking, you're gonna give up you're gonna lose a lot of ult charge, especially if you lose the first team fight if you swap. So that's also a thing. Generally speaking, I think it's around, if you cap the submap first and win the first team fight on a submap, on a control map, the team that wins the first team fight is something like 60 or 65% likely to win the submap, just because they have ult advantage going into it. So that's, I don't know, that's the reason why I'm not the biggest fan of control points, because like if you aren't running on full cylinders, or potentially like there's something like going on that's like some sort of misstep, and you make like one mistake, and that one mistake can just snowball to you losing the entirety of the submap. So that's why I'm not the biggest fan of control, because you can't really swap, because if you swap, you're gonna lose the ult advantage, or like you're gonna lose a lot of your ult economy just straight out of the gate that you're already losing because you lost the first team fight. So but you guys got through, so that's definitely a plus in my book, so that's good. It was almost really good, but they used a bunch of ults. Maybe your Reinhardt should have just maybe held shield a little bit more instead of trying to charge in, but I mean, they had ult advantage, so it's kind of is what it is.
Top left, here we go.
And I'm not trying to
I'm
like
stuck in the
just
tunnel.
roast your main
Taxi,
tank at all.
get the...
It's just he's the one that I can see most because this is the only POV that I really found of this.
Go around the left. Go,
we're
cross
going.
the bridge.
We're going around. We're going around back. Follow me. Dropping down. Drop down now.
Shatter was lost.
Run.
I think you might have been able to hit. I mean, it would have been difficult to hit that shatter. I think you jumped a little bit when you did that. Where's the focus fire though? Yeah, it's good that you have the shot calling, but somebody needs to be focus firing.
Yeah, we're gonna 2-2-2.
There you need to like focus and be like, hey,
I guess.
let's get that Ryan. Let's get that Ryan.
I mean, the thing is, like, we can't make up.
Like you need to like always have like a target. Just be like, it's good that you're like shot calling like where you're going. That's fantastic. I'd love to see that. But you also need to like in the thick of it, you have to be like, hey, let's smash that Ryan. Just all of you guys focus on that Ryan. Let's get that Ryan. Run. I know how ridiculous this sounds, but you just need to do it. That's just kind of how this target calling works. And potentially you can think about having like a secondary shot caller that if your main shot caller who's like doing these calls and stuff like that gets tired, you can always have like a secondary shot caller or like a repeating shot caller. Because like on my team, I'm a secondary like shot caller. I don't really make the shot calling decisions. I just kind of go with it. But if I notice that the comms are really lacking, that's when I start ramping up my my voice. That's when I start like saying, if I hear like our shot caller say or our target caller say, hey, let's get this Brig out of position, and they say Brig, get Brig, I start repeating Brig incessantly, like Brig, and keep on saying it. I know it's annoying and repetitious, but sometimes just using your voice so you can target call in the middle of a fight and kind of like drown out other people sometimes is the play. But I don't think you're necessarily going to be drowning people out on this team. The call seems overall pretty concise, and it's kind of more of like a lack of like target calling when you're in the middle of the fight. But
equal sign. Equal plus.
Thank you.
oh, they had a pause.
Discord's
Feels
not
bad.
working for me, guys. You all sound robotic. I gotta do something, and I don't know what.
Stop streaming.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't trying to get like all raw and aggressive, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Wiggly. It's just I could not hear half of what you were saying.
Wait, what are you doing? Okay, cool.
Okay, so you're running... Okay, you're running... Zen, Moira... Zarya... McCree... Reaper, huh? Interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, I guess it's not the worst, potentially, if they're running like triple or quad DPS. It's not the worst. I still think I think in competitive, Reaper can be really, really oppressive. Just because people aren't really focusing all that hard with calls and what's going on. In like a team environment, Reaper isn't necessarily as great because they're going to be calling a lot more, talking, saying, oh, Reaper's behind, and people will actually... It's one thing because like in comp, you might hear a call saying, oh, Reaper's behind, but the thing is nobody on the team, generally speaking, moves to action. Like that's the big difference is like in a team environment, there's going to be resource usage by your team to focus calls like Reaper is behind, stuff like that. So when you say something, stuff's actually going to happen. So that's why Reaper is very good in comp, because a lot of the time, even in Masters, if you call the Reaper behind, nobody really does anything. Even it, like, I'm just, like, the only time they'll start doing something is if we start, like, losing pretty hard, and they ask, like, hey guys, what's going on? What's the problem here? And then I'm just like, I say, oh, hey, yeah, you know the Reaper we've been calling out? We need to focus him more because he's just, like, killing the supports in the back line. We're trying to do our best, trying to heal you guys up, but we need some peel or some sort of babysitter in the back line. And then they might say, okay, I'll do that. And then it might turn out well. But, like, that's very rare that happens in comp, which is why he's very abusive in comp, because that doesn't happen very much. So because Reaper has a problem still getting into team fights because he has to be so close, and you never want to use his Wraith to get into a fight only to get out. And his Shadow Step kind of is meh. Like, I think it's going to be better in the future, because you're going to be able to, like, TP from high ground someplace where they can't necessarily see where you're TPing to. That's going to be good. And then when you start your TP, you can just decide to, like, drop off the edge when you do the TP. So that'll make it a lot easier to actually TP to a location. But as it is right now, it's not necessarily the greatest. But we'll see how this goes. I mean, having one thing that you can do also to start this off is your Moira here. What they can do is play Lucio and just speed you guys out of spawn and then swap to Moira and then just use her fade to catch up. That's the thing you can do really quick, just to speed your team a little bit faster to point. That's just a little bit of support tech. If you have, like, a Mercy, or if you have a comp that relies around a Mercy or a Moira, that's something you can definitely do. So, all right, let's start this up again.
Dang, I would have taken Tracer. But you already were Tracer.
I'm already Tracer.
But now you're not. Forget it.
I keep dying.
They're running goats with Torb.
Sorry, I just
Oh, the Ryan's one.
Huge. You got the Ryan.
They're running a Torb.
You're even? No, you're down
Tor's
one.
on the right side.
Torb is Discord.
Definitely winnable. Oh, feels bad. The moment your Ryan dies there, like, really quickly,
I'm low.
generally speaking, you should just get out.
They're running triple support. They're running goats with a Torb.
By the way, this is goats with Torb. It's not really a good team composition.
Alright, let's go inside.
Because Torb's just got, like, molten jizz. That's really all he's got.
Quigley, you good?
This healing composition here isn't necessarily the greatest either. Because you're running.
We should play goats.
You're playing Death Ball.
They're playing goats and they're wiping the floor with us.
You're playing Death Ball basically right here. But you're playing it with a Mercy Zen, which isn't necessarily great. That's not necessarily great for support and tank compositions. It's not great.
We don't have enough healing.
There, Ryan. It's hard for your Ryan to do stuff. He's trying to do stuff there. He needs to hold the shield a little bit more and not just only swing. And in this team composition, what you're going to be trying to play around is you're going to be trying to play around your DPS to do stuff, basically.
Go Lucio.
to be fair, it isn't necessarily the greatest team comp. But in this team composition, what you're going to be doing is you're going to try to have your Sombra hack something, and then your McCree, basically, in addition with your Zenyatta, who have like the long distance damage, to melt that target, the hack target. That's what you were needing to accomplish with that team composition, which is fine. Which is definitely quite fine. You just need to, in that situation, your Reinhardt just needs to play more passive and wait for your Sombra to call the hack, basically. And then your McCree to like get into like a position where you can follow up, and same with your Zen. Against this team composition, you don't really want to go head on and take on the Rein 1v1, because generally speaking, he's just going to be able to win that out. Unless you bait out like Zarya, bubble, break it immediately, and then discord the enemy Reinhardt, maybe you got a shot. But again, it's not a team composition there you're running that would, it's not the greatest team composition, matter of fact, but it's not one that you can necessarily go 1v1 against the enemy Rein, because he's just gonna have more support. Like, look at that. Lucio, Brig, Zen. He's going to have the Zen orb on him at all times. This Zen is going to discord your Rein. When this Rein gets low, he's going to get Brig health pack. Instant, like 250 health, if I recall correctly. The Lucio here is going to be able to speed their Rein away. Same with their Zarya. So, like, they're going to have more support for their tanks. So, if hypothetically your Reinhardt wants to take the 1v1 against their Reinhardt, he's most likely going to lose it almost every single time unless you guys can pull an outplay. Which is, an outplay is something that, like, if you do outplays, they're considered, like, really big. And, like, an outplay would be something like, let's say a Ana sleeps a nano-bladed Genji. Calls it out, and then you kill the nano-bladed Genji. That is what we consider like an outplay. So like your Rein would have to pull out a play of equivalent merit essentially every single team fight to beat their Rein, which isn't something that you should have to rely on in that kind of like play style. There you just needed to wait for your Sombra to do something and to hack the enemy team, call the hack. Then your McCree focuses that target. Same with your Zen. You burn that target, and then you try to do it again to another target, and then there you go. Then you use EMP Grav or EMP Shatter, whichever one's up with EMP the soonest, and then bing bang boom, you win the next team fight. But right there wasn't the greatest team comp, and you weren't trying, and like you guys didn't play it right. It was definitely very winnable because Torb Goats is a fucking throw. If you guys were more patient, you definitely could have won this sub map, 100%. Because you were getting picks too.
Oh, we have to kind of go now.
Yeah, go.
They're gonna have ults for us too. They didn't use any of them.
Yeah.
I have trance to help counter. I'm gonna hold it for grab though.
I've got Shatter.
Go.
Oh. We
Yeah, you guys waited too long. Like they right there you needed your like Lucio.
I mean, it really depends on the map, but this map is like
Right there to touch, you probably needed your Lucio to go like far left, far right to make sure that you got the touch, because of course they're gonna grab you off the point. That's just what's gonna happen. They're not even gonna take the team fight. They're just gonna get a big grab in the main choke there because you're now running goats, and and that's basically about it. They're just gonna win by default basically because you can't touch. But
have I been talking and you guys haven't been listening?
You haven't been talking at all.
Shoot, this is.
He was talking on Village, and he was very good shot calling, and shot calling in the sense that he was like saying, "Oh, hey, let's go in now. Let's go around. Yeah, stuff like that." He was doing very good on that, which I gotta give you props for that. But you also need somebody to be like target calling, mid fight. I mean, in that situation, potentially your Zen could do it. It just depends. This is a pretty good map if I remember. You go all 3 points here, which is definitely good. Good on you guys. You got because it's not easy to cap 3rd point here. I know the other team, I believe, capped it with like a lot of time, but if I recall correctly, I think they just out-mechanicked you. I don't think they actually won by team skill. If I were to like rate your teamwork, I would say your teamwork is slightly higher than their teamwork, but then they basically just beat you on mechanics. That's essentially what they did in this game. So if your comms were a little bit better, more concise, you always had.
Discord Rhine.
Yep.
in the game.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Beautiful.
Hell yeah, fam. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. That is top tier advice. Just Discord the Rhine, forehead, dude. No, that's a really good call.
Should we go left?
That's a really good call. I like that. Just smash their Rhine. Just put so much pressure on their Rhine, make their Rhine tilted. That's what, like, that's what you need to do. In my head, I'm always, when I'm playing Zenyatta, I'm always calling, like, I'm always counting in my head when the enemy Reinhardt has Fire Strike again, so I can just Discord right-click him every single time. And then he just stops Fire Striking, and then my Rhine has an immediate advantage almost every single fight.
What was that?
And immediate alt advantage and just damage per second.
Boosting.
Peace. Left stairs. Come on.
Yeah, this is a very good call.
Here we go. Kill Steve. Div.
Good.
Run.
Stairs.
Run.
Right now. Sorry.
Sends down.
Just clean this up.
I'm gonna say this right now. Do that all the time, please. Please do that all the time. That was so great. Oh. I don't have my face cam on right now, but I'm smiling. That was great. I love that.
Clean this up.
Someone's on point. Diva's over here.
Running, she's running.
Alright, everyone back. On point.
Diva.
3, 2, 1, go! Run! There you go! Push him! Diva on point!
Chasing Zarya.
D-Mecker.
Nice. Back
Yeah,
point,
hold
back
shield,
point, back point.
hold shield, yeah.
Good job.
There, right there, the moment you get the cap, your Lucio needs to swap off the point and go with your Rhine and Brig that are pushed up there and go for staggers. And your Diva needs to go forward as well. Your Zen and your Zarya can just sit on cart. If you do that, you get the fat alt charge and you get the fat staggers. So I don't have like a map of it, but of this map. But basically, if you get those fat staggers right there, where the team fight's most likely gonna happen is by the time that they can regroup, it's most likely already gonna be like right next to jail. So they're only going to get one fight on streets. Right here, because you didn't go after staggers, they're going to get 2 fights on streets rather than just 1. So you need to go for staggers there.
And they should have.
They may have grabber because the grab.
Yep. Depends on how much you are
You
shield.
can stay behind car, guys.
Because they're going to get a fight right here rather than... If you went for staggers, got the staggers, then you would have a fight all the way over there by jail.
Stay behind car.
And now they're gonna get a fight at Saloon, and then they're gonna get a fight at
Zen right side. Zen right side. We're fine. We're
which
fine.
Saloon.
I'm scouting.
Saloon's this building right here. They're gonna get a fight a little bit above Saloon here, and then they're gonna get a fight over at jail right there. They're gonna get 2 fights. If you can go for staggers and make it so like they only get 1 fight, oh, that's perfect. That's the only thing I gotta say bad about this attack. Good job, guys.
Stay on point. Stay on point.
Good job.
Not yet. Not yet. Posture. Posture. We don't need to take damage. We don't need to take damage.
Shield down. Shield down.
Go, 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 go! Run! Defensibles! There you go! Keep swinging! Run! Find that run!
There, you don't ult. The reason why you don't ult is you lost your Rhine. You needed to trans earlier there, if you were gonna trans at all, or beat, or one of those things. Something to save your Rhine, because the moment you lose your Rhine and it's a 5v6, you're just gonna lose the fight. Now you've used your ultimates, and the ult economy is more or less gonna be reset, and you won't have the ultimate advantage. If anything, I think they might be a little bit up in ults now, even though you won the first team fight. So that's a little tip there for your supports. Here you don't ult. The moment your run goes down, don't ult. Just let them use their grav, and you hold on to grav, and then you go in, and then you just grab them. Easy clap. You win that fight. Yeah, all right, you wasted 10 seconds, but if you get the staggers and whatnot, make sure you kill everybody. If you have 3 on the cart and then you have 3 pushing up, you more or less this might just be the team fight after this that you lose here. That might just be, if you held on to your ults, that might have just been the 1 fight. It just depends on just game knowledge stuff like that. But yeah, overall, this map actually has been pretty decent. It's just like little mistakes, because you guys definitely could have won this. I was thinking to myself when I was watching this over previously that I was just like, damn, they're so fucking close, man. Feels Kappa, dude. Ooh, they didn't need to beat there. That's good, actually, for you guys.
Back out, reset.
Yeah, back out, reset. Yep. Back to spawn. Let them don't get staggers. Yep.
Alright, we're gonna go inside.
Right.
We're gonna go to the right.
Follow the right.
They never used bomb, did they?
No.
Nope.
Alright, so
They
they
did
have
use
bomb.
grab though, and I believe they used shatter. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they have their defensive
Group up.
ult
Inside.
We're going.
Inside.
Yep, come on.
defensive ult and shatter.
Follow me.
Through room. Go.
Everybody gather, stack.
Drop back over.
We lost healer, back out.
Yeah, just back. You're probably just gonna need to die on card here, and don't use ults.
Alright, Dyer, get out.
It's gonna be just die, because most people won't be able to get out.
At that point where we were all basically stacked, saying that intensely.
I couldn't make it back.
We were going to go in. Back in, back out.
Nah, just yeah.
Okay.
That was a bad play on them, because they killed your baby diva, and she was out of mech. They should have just left her,
I'm gonna try to stay up out of the fight so I can.
because you can't really suicide on this map.
Stay with me. Follow your Rhine, follow your break. Go through the room. First door, okay?
I mean, going through this right room is alright.
Let's go.
Push.
Just going straight is probably this route's probably better.
He's running shot.
Run.
I'm shot. I'm grab.
We use both support.
Huge shatter.
Even
Oh, feels bad. Oh, right there. If you had shielded, that would have been huge, dude. Because I will say that a lot of Reinhardt's, if you get a shatter and you get like one of their like like support players, a lot of Rhynes are just gonna immediately hit Q right after because you're gonna try to do damage. They can't really save their Zen, so if you just like hold your shield and then let your Zen kill their like down Zen, then probably you kill the Zen there, you hold your shield, you block their shatter, and then they're down one and then they just use shatter. And then you push in and then you win the team fight.
Oh, we have grab, okay. We have grab bomb.
Yep.
Alright, we're gonna go straight through the gate this time, okay?
Just we need to make sure we get Discord on the Rhine, and then we go on. I think, like we poke and prod a little bit until he drops the shield for a fire strike.
Yep. Straightforward.
No, Discord each of the damage one on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Ryan is Discord. Push.
Nice.
Ryan down.
Huge.
Ryan down.
Beautiful.
Zarya.
Huge.
Zarya's on
Hold
fire.
shield now. Hold shield now. Yep. That's alright.
Down.
Diva, top,
Feels
Diva,
bad.
top.
You got bursted down there fast. I mean, that's just goats. That's just goats, dude. Not much you can do there. But overall, that was good. I like that. That was good.
Just poke him.
I'm on my
They're
way back.
Ryan is here. Back up. Everyone back. Everyone back.
Yep. Soft reset. Good
Now
call.
forward. All right, back. They just use their ult. Back. Oh.
Okay. Good ults. Good ults.
So sad.
Ryan. Come on.
Right here. You want to kill the Zarya probably.
Zarya's a little behind us. He's dead.
Because like
Big shatter,
if
big shatter.
that Zarya was really high
break,
charge,
break.
she could have gotten a nice fat
break
kill onto
Finish
your supports there.
Good job.
Nice.
Because Zarya just melts Zen and Lucio and stuff like that. That could have been dangerous, but overall it worked out fine.
Discorded. Broke LOS. Keep him in the room. Move up.
The Zen's right side. You can just kill that Zen. He's out of position. Okay, he trans.
Nice.
Okay. That's unlucky.
It's okay.
I'm on Zen.
Oh, you already capped. Oh, big dude.
Reset.
Doesn't even matter.
Grab again.
Just let them use their ults and
Wait,
yeah. Yeah, you guys got the cap. Doesn't matter, dude. Let them use ults.
go out the bottom.
Oh, pause.
No, that's a spec.
Alright. We're going bottom. Let's go.
Matter of fact, you could have let the bomb kill you, Ryan, because I think
Shield
you already
back.
had the cap. And then they wouldn't have gotten ult charge from that.
Let's go.
That could have that would have been a really big brain
Break
play,
down.
because they were pouring ults into it.
Get this Discord on Rhine.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, what? Sorry, down.
Diva.
Oh yeah, get that down,
Lucio,
Terry.
Lucio,
Yeah, get that
Lucio,
Lucio. Yep.
Lucio down.
Nice.
Diva.
Zenyatta.
Zen on cart.
Then down.
You could have left the diva. You could have left the baby and have her like try to go back to spawn. That would have been good
Sorry,
too.
pushing forward.
Because now she's gonna respawn with her mech, of course.
If I have grab.
Brig on left. I'm discorded. Backing up.
Sorry.
Yeah, try to pin somebody out of there.
Focus on it.
Oh yeah, nice.
Fat bomb. Good job.
Big shatter.
Huge.
Amazing.
I'm going on 10.
Blocking it.
Get that Zarya now.
Zarya,
Yeah.
get Zarya.
Yeah, get the Zarya, then Diva next. Diva. Yep.
I'm low.
Now you kill baby.
Then in the back. Then down.
Right.
Right charging.
He's discorded.
Moira's gonna be behind cart. Yep.
Zarya.
Good
Nice.
job.
Alright, nice.
Nice cap.
Did you say, oh fuck that guy?
No, I just said oh fuck because I wasn't expecting to eat that grab.
That was awesome.
Pretty damn
Well done.
good.
That's
That
sick.
was
That's
big.
I have Diva bomb, as opposed to the grab.
So if we get
I got
grab,
excited. That was my bad.
transcend.
Okay, so I think that as long as we just wait to push hard when they have the Discord on the Rhine, or when we have our Discord on their Rhine, then I think we'll be golden.
Yep.
Yeah, they
That's the
really
goal, just
don't
murder
have
him.
a Zen or Brig player, and I think that's their weakest links.
Absolutely.
They're gonna push
Here we
it
go.
hard.
Wait for the Zen Discord, and then also wait for the Brig over.
Oh,
Oh, so
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, if they don't really have a Brig or Zen player, that can be definitely detrimental.
We don't need to be taking this house. Back up, back up.
I need to get...
Fighting in choke is fine.
I'm anti,
Oh, you're purple. Oh, that's unlucky.
I have no shield, I'm down.
honestly,
I mean, if you didn't have shield, you could have crouched behind the cart there and used it as a shield more.
No.
Um,
I'm anti...
here, since they're running a,
On a Sombra.
since they're running an Ana here, realistically what you should be doing, they're not playing goats. So you should be doing here is, having your diva just, like, hold DM just to eat that, that nade.
And they definitely have
Just hold the DM just for that only. And just eat that nade.
They probably have nano as well.
And play very, very aggro. If you do that, you play very aggro and eat the nade, their team comp can't really do anything. They're kind of just done. Because you have 2 defensive ults, or technically 3 with Brig, sort of. It's more of just a sustain in the fight. They're, like, look at their tank composition. They're running Renzaria with Ana Zen. Like, it's not great. It's not a great team composition. Team composition wise, you should be able to smash this team pretty easy.
God, I'm so slow.
Probably switch to 2-2-2.
Yeah, switch to 2-2-2.
Okay.
Their soldier's just playing very, very tricky, and he's hitting a lot of shots. Like, when he went high ground there, because I believe he went stairs and high ground over point on that
It's
first
hard 'cause
attack.
you play hero...
So what you could have done is, it would have been easier, for example, if your diva had sat up high ground, and just like booped their soldier down. When high ground, booped their soldier down from high ground, top right, because I believe that's where he was sitting up, where he was like just hammering you guys from later in the first team fight, holding first point there. You could have definitely done that. And also, if you're pushed up that far as diva, you can definitely pretty easily just eat nade from being high ground there too, on top of it. So that's another thing. But overall, you should be able to, with Goat's composition, you should be able to beat their team comp. Because, like, look at this. This was an Ana. Same team composition. This was an Ana, though. They have Zen Ana on attack, which isn't necessarily great on attack. Just because, like, yeah, speed isn't what it used to be for the team, but some speed is better than no speed, especially when you're doing, like, you're playing scrims. So, definitely, you should have just abused the fact that you guys are faster. And also that you have a diva and you could just eat their nades. I mean, Sombra will be annoying because there's no real counter to Sombra. Like, the biggest, like, counter, like, one of the biggest counters to Sombra is another Sombra of your own, / like, Widow / Hanzo when they have their, like, recon abilities up. So, overall, you should be able to beat them if you just run goats. Here, with this team composition, I know that you have bomb. I get that you have bomb. I get it. And you want to hold on to bomb. I 100% get that. But in this team composition, you might want to just drop the diva, like, almost immediately and just drop bomb. Because you don't really have anything to count, like, to combo with bomb here. So you might as well just drop it, swap to diva, so you can give support to your Reinhardt. Because what I see with this team composition is now is the soldier's gonna be high ground. It's just gonna be your Widow's job to try to like counter that. It's not gonna be easy, but your Widow's gonna have to like contest their soldier. It is a favorable matchup, generally speaking, if it's distance, but if it's closer range, then it's gonna be kind of a pain in the ass. But the Widow's gonna have to contest the soldier. The big thing that I see that's gonna really hurt you guys is this character is gonna discord this character and give an advantage to this character. Plus, they have Zarya, so Zarya is going to be able to bubble the Rhine, so he's going to be able to create a lot more space than your Reinhardt is. It's going to be very difficult for your Reinhardt to get shit done here. I already see that happening. Plus, you don't have a Zarya of your own, so you can't necessarily, let's say, they hack. Let's say they do EMP Earth Shatter. What you can do is your Zarya can play off to the side and not get EMP'd, and then walk forward for a quick second, pop her personal bubble to bubble the back line from the shatter, and then bubble your Reinhardt here so he doesn't get shattered either while he's hacked. And then that's a huge outplay, and then they've just used 2 ults, and then they have basically lost the team fight. But you can't really do that with D.Va, so even that big brain play right there that I just said, you can't really do. So
Shows that I play, so I have to think about what I'm gonna play.
They have a Sombra.
Watch out for that Sombra. Stay behind me,
Discord's
stay
on
behind me. Let's go, on the point now.
shield's almost
Play
down.
right shield if we can. I heard bomb. They're backing out.
Back up,
Huge pick.
They're probably gonna go
You
goats.
needed that.
They are goats. They're just the modified goats.
No, no, no.
Sombra,
They're not goats. They're not
Double.
goats, by the way.
back right.
They're pushing.
They're playing Death Ball, but they're not really playing like Death Ball. Like they're playing Death Ball with Zen Mercy, which isn't really a good team composition. Zen Mercy for Death Ball isn't great. It should generally speaking be like Lucio Ana for Death Ball, and then you can run a soldier, and then the Sombra is pretty decent there too. Though you can play Genji as well. Or you can play... There's like a bunch of things you could play. But their team composition currently that they have isn't really great. I would say if you just fixed the little things in your team composition, you'd be fine. Also, Moira's fine as well. Because Moira can really... has less of a problem with Sombra than the other main supports. Because if Mercy gets hacked, she can't really do much. She just hides behind a corner in healing whoever she can really see and reach just from the corner. Ana, I mean, like, Ana can't heal herself, so she has to rely on the off support to heal her. And then, like, Moira can at least keep herself alive if the Sombra's trying to kill her, because she can just crouch spam, give the Sombra the suck, and just not die to the Sombra, essentially. So in that case, it's not bad having the Moira here. Lucio, you need to be very careful, because if you beat and she has EMP, then she takes away your beat, and you just lose an ult right there, and then your team's EMP'd. So you got to be careful with that. Plus, if Sombra hacks you, you're kind of uninstalled from the game. It just becomes a very generic shooter for you, Lucio, because you can't wall ride, you're not fast, you don't do any speed or healing because your aura goes away. I don't even recall if you can use boop. I don't think you can use boop if you're hacked. You can basically just shoot and reload. So, you need to be careful, Lucio.
Stay together, stay together.
Drop it now, drop it for now. Let it recharge.
Zen's in this room. Behind.
Which room?
They have a widow now.
Oh, good.
I see him. They're on point. Ryan on point. Ryan and Zari on point.
Push it. Now, push. Whoa!
I'm hacked.
Someone on the back. Someone on the back.
Yep. It's kind of, yeah, it kind of is what I thought.
Wiggly just went.
It's
Okay, I forced out trance.
Yeah, it's kind of what I thought with the EMP shatter. If you had a Zarya, you potentially could have saved that. Yeah, your Ryan's just gonna get hacked and he won't be able to do anything.
Get back, get back, get back.
If you had a Zarya there, then you potentially, there were things that you could potentially have done.
Reset. We can stop him here. We can hold for 4 minutes. No problem.
Yeah, they don't have
I'm trying to come back, but I got the different spawn from y'all. I got earlier spawn.
There, what you could have done, Ryan, is like pushed up a little bit to try to like shield your McCree so he didn't get so staggered. You could have done that. It wasn't guaranteed that you would save your McCree though. Aw, unlucky, dude. Unlucky. You could have potentially done a short pin there on the stun Sombra close, and I think you would have been able to just kill her if you're really, really close. Your shield's almost down. Yeah, there's the hack. Hack grav, yep.
Zarya's low.
This Sombra is just shredding me.
I'm trapped in the corner.
You're just being super aggressive.
We don't have a counter for their Sombra.
There is no real counter to Sombra.
You can do a diva check all around, but that's basically it.
Yeah. Playing main tank into a Sombra sucks. That's why I play her.
The only real counter, I think I said it before, but yeah, it's another Sombra, or when Widow has all, or when Hanzo has Recon Arrow. There's not much to it. It's just the biggest way to counter a Sombra is just through game knowledge, realistically. Because in my scrims, there's very, very few times when we go against Sombra goats that I don't have the ability to Transcendence and I get EMP'd as well. Because the way I play it is I play Zen, just like Zen goats basically. We play just Zen goats into that. And if I have Trance up and I know she has EMP, what I do is I play off to the side and kind of hide. So she has like two choices. She either solo EMPs me, and I die, or EMPs the entirety of the entirety of our team. And if she does the EMP on the entirety of our team, then I can just Transcendence that, and then we're fine. And it's not really a big deal. If she kills me, then what my team can do there, if we don't have point control yet, is they can just back out really, really quickly and use Lucio speed to get out. And then wait for me to respawn, and then they didn't really get too much value out of that EMP. They got like about 10-15 seconds off the clock, more or less, which isn't really big for an EMP. So you just need, like, honestly, I understand, like, Zen's, like, as a Zen player and like an off support player that plays like all the supports, I would say like Zen Moira, if you're having a really big problem with a Sombra, is probably the play for you to do. Because even if like the Sombra EMPs and you hear her like decloak, and then of course if she's decloaking in your backline and she hasn't ulted in a while, she's gonna ult. So what you can do as Moira is you can just hit fade or like around the corner away from her, and then you're fine. You didn't get EMP'd. You can still use your full set of abilities. If Zen's there, he can try to like play a little bit split so he doesn't get EMP'd. Also, he can just reflex trance as well if he has trance up and save the team from the EMP. Whereas like Lucio, he can't do that. So I would, if you're playing like into a 2-2 comp like that you're having a lot of problems with, then potentially just running like Moira Zen can be really helpful for your team, because then your supports can have an easier time supporting you. So that's the thing to think about.
Yeah. Alright, well, we're on attack, so we're back to goats. Because they did not really counter that well at all. Same path, up the stairs, around the top, down the stairs.
At least the team you're playing against isn't toxic. That's good.
We don't have to go 2-2-2, we're gonna put
The team we played against, because today I'm filming this on April 3rd. The team we played against on Sunday, every single map that we played, they would just type GG in the chat, which is totally disrespectful, rather than GR. It's pretty. If you scrim a lot, that's known as like big BM. It's all right. We beat them, so it's fine. But it would have been tilting if they had won after saying like GG all that time.
Ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. We got this. They're blind
Looks
fighting.
like goats, because they have Zen, Zarya, and Reinhardt.
2, 1, go, 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 go.
Yep, Diva. Yep,
Behind me,
goats.
stay behind me. Up the stairs, up the stairs, up the stairs.
Go, 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 go. We're good, we're good. Come on, come on, come on.
Yeah, just go stairs, knock the Diva off. Diva already dropped.
Go, go,
Let's
go,
go.
go.
Shield up, shield
You're
up.
discorded. Your Zarya right now needs to shield you.
Right,
Your Zarya needed to shield you the moment she saw that Discord on you. Or the moment that you saw the Discord on you, you need to be like, yo, give me bubble right now. As the Reinhardt player. Or your Zarya just needs to instinctively just like, the moment she sees that you're discorded, for you to get that bubble on you to cleanse the Discord there. Because you just got melted because of Discord, essentially.
I'm D-Mac. Mine's low though.
You lost because you lost your Reinhardt immediately.
Kill
That's
me.
what happened there. That was good going up top like that. 'Cause
Yeah,
you knocked
don't
the
wait for me.
the
Don't wait
you
for
knocked
me.
the Diva off of high ground. You knocked the Diva off of high ground there, so that was really good. Because you immediately just had to drop. Also, like your supports, also your Zen can kind of just sit up there and just get ult charge pretty fast just by shooting down. And also, if your Zen's like high ground there, you can farm Discord people pretty easily. I will say your Zen needs to be a little bit more vocal. Realistically, I don't talk the most of my scrims. If you listen to my scrims, I don't talk that much. I try not to. I basically just do Discords and like callouts of where people are, like positional or like a locational callouts, because I don't want to clutter comms too much, and I don't want to counter call. But your Zen will need to be like, oh hey, Reinhardt's discorded, Diva's discorded, and try to keep that Discord on that target for, I want to say, as long as possible. I want to say at least 5 to 7 seconds. And if no one can really reach said target in that amount of time and like do damage besides yourself, then you need to swap that Discord over to somebody else that your team can actually follow up on easier. So, just a little tip for Zenyatas and goats.
To go.
Speed
now.
You need bubble to cleanse that.
I can touch.
Okay. Because your Ryan had to play really passive there because he had the Discord orb on him, and kind of like let your team. He had to play back because of that. He needed that bubble, because you saw how your Ryan just like immediately like started like playing more passive, because he was like really low health already. I believe he got hit by a Discord right click, which got him down to like 300 HP. So he just has to hold shield there and hope that he gets bubble or something like that. Which he didn't, so he didn't play passives, which means he couldn't block the shatter that came through when you guys tried to push in. So a lot of things happened there in a very short amount of time.
Our defense.
Oh, GG. Oh, feels Kappa.
Bastion and Orisa.
Okay. Yes.
The better play here is, okay, Hog, I'll say this. Hog is not too bad in comp because there's not a lot of callouts like I've said before. So, like, a Hog can do a lot of, like, cheeky stuff and, like, hook people from the side or from the flank and get a really easy pick. And then you guys can just win in comp really, really quickly. In bunker comp like this, Hog is the worst choice you can pick. Because who's going to touch? Because you want to stay up in cafe. You want to stay the high ground as much as possible here. Who's going to touch in this team composition? Generally speaking, it's going to be your Hog who's going to be touching. Your off tank, I should say, more or less. It's going to be your off tank that should be touching. But if it's Hog, he can't really get out the same way a D.Va would. So you want to swap this Hog for a D.Va, because if they start touching point, then the D.Va can drop with, if you have a Zenyatta, you can give your Harmony Orb to your D.Va. She saves DM, and she can test point for a bit, for as long as humanly possible. And then you can have your Orisa drop after your D.Va comes up and gets some heals. You don't necessarily want your Orisa to drop, but if you haven't done enough damage to get like in that span of time where the enemy's on the point, your Bastion needs to do enough damage to where he's killed a couple people. So when your Orisa drops, she's not dropping into like a full 6. So that's ideally what you should be doing in this team composition. Here, if they're gonna run, interesting. I guess what I would suggest in this situation is either have a Sombra or potentially an Ashe. Maybe an Ashe, because if you have the Ashe and they go to spawn and swap to pharmacy because they see you're playing bunker, then the Ashe can contest the pharmacy, and or if you have the Ashe. Ashe is very good at hurting goats as well. It's not full spam, but as it would be if you had a Junkrat, but she can do a lot of damage to goats because they're all clumped up together. She gets a big dynamite, and she gets like almost 60 to her ult basically from that one dynamite into the center of like a goat's team. And she's doing all this while your D.Va's dropping, and while your Bastion is doing a shit ton of damage to the enemy team. And if all goes well, you're going to have your Bastion all up for next fight. Your D.Va will still be in mech. Your Orisa will still be alive. Your Zen will probably be close to trance. And you as Ashe will most likely have Bob. And when you have Bob, you still do the D.Va touch first. But in this situation, since you have Bob, you can give your Bastion more support with shield by leaving your Orisa on high ground, and then you rotate you throw Bob onto point rather than having your Orisa drop in that situation. So if you do that, then you can really, really annoy the shit out of teams by doing like smooth and very calculated rotations onto point like that for bunker comp. But let's see what you do here, because I don't necessarily remember what you run on this. Okay, you run a soldier. Soldier isn't bad. Soldier isn't bad. You can run a soldier too. Zen's good. The big problem I see is the hog here. You can run soldier because he does do a lot of damage to barriers and whatnot. Though I will say probably an Ash would be a little bit better, but that's alright. Okay, good. Your cafe. Also, depending upon what you actually have as a team composition, you can potentially run, if you're not really confident in doing fast rotations up to that high ground up there, because technically that's another rotation that you can do. If they, let's say they're running goats and they are going into choke right here. For a goats comp, it's not really great for a goats comp to wrap all the way around and come over from that side right there. It's not really great. So what a goats comp should do, ideally, is they come through joke, they see that you have bunker comp. They're going to chill out for a second, heal up, and then they're going to go this way and wrap around all the way behind you guys. And when that happens, you should rotate this high ground over here. If they do that. So this is just a hypothetical, of course. I don't necessarily remember this part of the VOD. But that's what you do. That's the only time you really rotate is if a goats comp tries to come up behind you from cafe. Yeah, that's basically about it. Also, yeah, like I was saying, if you're not comfortable that your team is going to be able to rotate really, really quickly up to this high ground, you can run a Lucio instead of a Zen. Though, technically, you shouldn't necessarily need the Lucio to be able to rotate to this high ground, because all you do is just drop down and come up here. You'll have more than enough time to rotate against a goats comp team if they try to wrap around here. But you run the Lucio just in case if you aren't comfortable in your rotations. Until you get them down packed yet.
These tables aren't running.
Yeah, that's why I'm on top of one. And crouch.
Is that a Hanzo?
Yeah, that's a Hanzo.
Okay, they're running goats.
Then Discord. Ryan Discord.
I need a Harmony Orb on me.
The problem with this is your hog's gonna drop.
Straight ahead.
Your hog's gonna drop.
Right side.
Right side.
On a Discord.
Are they running goats? Oh, that's unlucky. Oh, that's really unlucky.
Drop!
Sombra behind.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
GG. That's about it. GG for this map. I mean, your team it could have been a better shield, to be honest. But your team also wasn't necessarily aware that of where they were protected and where they were not protected. So that's kind of an unlucker. That's kind of like on your soldier and on your mercy that got picked there. They needed to know where the shield was. Potentially you could have made that shield a little bit better, but
I would prefer Temple of Anubis, but...
I like Anubis.
but it is what it is.
Oh, Wiggly, you took my fire pick.
Another spec. Okay, yeah.
I have to adjust this now.
Okay, yeah, this...
Absolutely a book character.
A what?
Kelsier is he's a book character.
Okay. I'm repeating myself from Village back on Nepal, but at this point you should know if you're trying to do a variation of goats, you have Penguin play Zarya, and then you have your Zarya play good old Brigitte. If you're trying to do a variation of goats, Moira's fine. I mean, you can run Zen as well. It just depends what they have. Basically, what you play for goats, like the goats quote unquote counters are, generally speaking, Ana goats is better than Moira goats, but Zen goats is better than both those goats. And also, regular Zen goats is, generally speaking, if you play it very aggro, is better than Sombra goats and better than Mei goats. But you need to be very aggressive and take the fight to them, and really punish their team. You need to be super, super aggressive against variations of goats comp if you're running standard goats comp. Generally speaking, you will win, or you should be able to win against it. Because looking back at Vancouver, Vancouver crushed Seoul Dynasty. And Seoul Dynasty played a lot of Sombra goats. The thing about Sombra goats is you need to play it sort of passive, so you play around the EMP. So as long as you play aggressive with standard Zen goats, you will win, just overall. But that's just a little aside to goats.
Sub block. Dude.
Alright, let's get ready.
Let's go through left room.
Next to the Rhine, everyone to the Rhine. Follow Rhine, follow Rhine.
Let's see, are they playing goats or are they playing... Oh, yeah!
Hold on.
Yeah, that's when Zens get dangerous when they got those discorded right clicks.
Speed.
They've got Widow and Ash. Fuck.
The left side. Or right side. Widow's right side.
Are they running dive?
Widow's right side. We're moving.
Here? All you gotta do right here is play point. Just play point foreheads. You see this diva? Just fuck this diva really, really hard. And once you finish fucking the diva, go to the Zen on point right here and just face fuck that Zen. Right now you gotta pick onto Ash. Your Widow needs to be watching for the res. And make sure that she's aware of where the other Widow and the Ash is. Because they're running double sniper here. So you need to be your Widow needs to be very, very careful and very, very aware. She needs to play with a very narrow sight line for either like just here or just over here. Because I think the enemy Widow's here. I'm pretty sure. But right here, they're rezzing. So you need to be like, hey, speed us now. Let's fuck this diva. Let's fuck this diva real hard. Then you fuck this diva. You kill her. And then once you kill her, they're still going to be rezzing. So they're already down one right here. They're going to be, it's going to be a 5v6 once the good old Ash is back up. But once you finish fucking this diva, you just go hardcore on this Zen. You kill this fucking Zen. Then they're down 2. And if your Widow's playing very narrow sightlines, she's still up. She's probably contesting the snipers. And then all you gotta really do is either play this wall. Realistically, you don't really want to play this wall, actually, now that I think about it, because then the Ash is going to be back. She's going to just use her dynamite. You're going to be burning, which is going to hurt real bad. So you can just play this mini room right here and just allow your Widow to maybe, like, contest this Widow potentially, and or have your Zen with Rhine Shield over in this room. And like this room right here, like your Rhine stands right on the very edge of this point, and have your Zen just kind of contest that Widow. Hit her a couple times, she's going to back off. And then she's going to back off, probably try to grab a Mega or something like that. And then easy clap, you've got at least one tick, and then they're going to start getting desperate, so they're going to start dropping, and then they're going to start dying on point.
Good job. We're hopping down, we're hopping down.
They have a Winston.
Just fuck this diva. Yep. Just fuck that diva. You need to just immediately go on that diva.
Go up top, follow me. Up the stairs.
I don't agree with this call. There's Zen and Diva and Monkey are like all on the ground. If their Diva comes up here, that's fine. If they're deep, just get that Zen. Get that Zen. Zen. Get that Zen. Don't worry about the tanks. Don't worry about the tanks. They're just trying to buy time right now. I wouldn't worry about their tanks here, because they're just trying to buy time for their double sniper comp to pick you guys apart. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Since you didn't fuck the Diva there, it is what it is. Just go kill the Zen. Just go kill the Zen. Cause he can't get away. They don't have res. He's dead. Right here. Kill this Zen. Just focus this Zen. But you also are down 2. Basically their tanks just took your attention away. Their dive tanks just like dove you, which isn't a smart move. You probably should have clapped the tanks there, the enemy tanks, the dive tanks, but it's fine if you don't, because you can just hold shield and then just fuck this Zen. Let as a main tank just hold your shield and just let your team just face fuck this Zen. The Zen's dead. They've already used their cooldowns. You're on point, so the enemy tanks have 2 choices. They stay on point to contest point so you don't get a tick. And if they do that, they're dead because you just kill them because it's goats. But if they back off, then you get a tick. They're going to be healing up. You make sure you watch the Zen corpse to make sure that they don't like res halfway through the fight. You try to play passively in the room. So you just like kind of swap out your tanks. Like you have you play in this room, you have your Rhine, hold it for as long as possible. Try to have your Zen, try to contest the Widow. Then when your Rhine shield's about to break, then you back into room. You tell your team that you're backing off. You have either your Diva or your Zarya, whichever one has their like kind of tanking abilities up. If your Zarya has personal bubble up, then she goes. If your Diva has DM, she goes. And then you make sure you have at least one on point at all times. You get potentially a tick or 2, blah, blah, blah. Because then they're just forced to go to point and just die.
No more ults, no more ults, no more ults.
Dropping. I've got shatter.
No shadow. Do not.
I'm out. They tossed me.
Reset. We're resetting. We
Nah,
can't.
fuck me! Every time I pick their sniper, it just gets fucking res.
Yeah. I mean, it's very difficult. I mean,
We have to drop on them. We cannot stay on the
potentially what you can do is have your diva go up there to try to like boop the Mercy away when she tries to go for a res. That's really all you can do to stop that. You just need your Widow to keep on playing well like she is, and to try to just contest them from like very narrow sight lines. So that's kind of just the play there.
Here we go.
Alright.
We are here. Go. Speed.
Steven's behind us.
Shit.
Keep going.
Yeah, just smash this in.
Widow top left, right. Widow top right.
Don't worry about it. Just smash this in.
I'm down on point.
Oh, you got trans out. Now you
I'm
just.
healing.
Oh, huge.
Got Mercy.
You're up one. Now focus the Zen.
I got wiped away. Winston's on me.
Yeah. Oh, huge. Focus grab now.
Zen gets
Oh,
Zen.
that Ashe is
Down.
popping, dude.
No,
That Ashe is
no,
building ult really
Off
fast.
on point.
That's unlucky.
Swapping to Winston. Yes.
Floats here isn't too bad either. But again, it's really tough for your team because you're doing like very unconventional stuff here. If you did dive goats here, that's also another way that you can like counter the shit out of their double sniper. Because then your tanks, they like dive one of the snipers. They can potentially kill one of the snipers, and when they get low, they drop, and then you've got the goats healing, and then easy clap.
Alright, okay.
Alright, let's do it.
Let's go.
You force them to point, you kill their tanks, you kill their Zen,
Stairs.
then they just
All the way
lose
up.
after that.
Shit.
All the way up.
They have vision,
Winston
they have
is
vision.
behind us. Winston is
Vision
behind us.
it until
Wait in here.
30.
Wait in here. Wait in the room.
Yeah, your support lineup isn't great here.
Vision is not
It's just like little things with your team composition that aren't great.
4,
Alright.
3,
Because this is definitely a winnable game
1.
as well.
Push.
They're all really winnable. That's the reason why I picked this, is because this map and this game in particular was very
Ashe is on this
winnable.
little bridge.
Mercy res Widow.
They're not. Yeah.
Get Mercy.
I
Get
got
Mercy.
happy on me.
Now you're just like playing this like regular dive, which I mean isn't great.
Fly to me.
Playing it like regular dive.
Short heals.
I'm gonna stay here to touch.
No heals.
You're playing like floats tanks, but then you have like dive supports, and then you have like a dive DPS sort of with Widow. I mean, Widow can be definitely used in
Every
dive.
kill I got res.
Yeah.
So
Their Mercy was.
it's you kind of just need to choose what you want to do. If you want to go floats, go floats. If you want to do dive, go
I mean,
dive,
that's what
and try to
do,
like
though.
you do
Yeah, we just
the
need to
team
jump on those
composition
reses,
right.
'cause we can just kill the Mercy. We
But
know where the
I
Mercy
would
is.
suggest floats, because floats it's very easy, because then you can just contest.
There we go. Dive.
You can contest the
On defense?
you can just contest the double
There's a
sniper.
map for it,
Your supports will more or less be fine. You'll have more than enough healing, and since it's 2 CP, they can't leave the objective alone,
Zen instead of the-
so they can't like
Do we
play
wanna
a
then?
lot of off angles once you start capping.
Yeah.
They have to start like dropping a point, and then that makes it very easy for floats or regular goats to just fuck them.
Slow.
You just didn't do the thingies right, unfortunately. You didn't.
Dude, his
The
little
team
gamer
composition was
balls are so
not-
strong now.
not
No, it's like his regular
particularly
balls that he tosses.
the best team
gotta-
composition.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
I want to say that was
Yeah.
it wasn't your individual play per se that you lost
No.
this, but like it was just like weird like team compositions, and then like
Yeah,
not
running
not like
Genji
understanding
Winston.
like the subtleties
I hear it.
of goats, because like goats and floats are like when you're in like a script, like in comp, yeah, all right, they're cheesy. Yeah, I know they're cheesy. That's why like I do my utmost not to run goats in comp, even though it's really meta. I mean, it's less meta now, because Baptiste is out in comp, but for a long time it was very meta, very meta. But like but like when it comes to like goats team v team and like a team environment, it's totally different. It's you have to be very methodical on what you're doing at all times. So that it's a little bit different in a team environment. It's not so cheesy, because if you run a bad goats into, let's say, a dive comp, or not full goats into a dive comp and not playing the comp that you're playing correctly, then you're just gonna get destroyed by a less optimal comp, like we saw on attack there.
Yeah.
They just played their composition better. They did the crossfire. They set up the crossfire with the Widow and the Ashe. They had their dive tanks contest the point.
They're going choke.
Their Zen, for some odd reason, I don't know why you didn't. Their Zen was a throw. Their Zen was throwing. You 100% should have killed him. It is what it
Genji
is.
right side.
Bridge. Bubble.
You're running classic dive.
Winston,
Can
John.
we Discord?
They're pushing
Bridge
bridge. They're
around me.
pushing
Is
bridge.
it Discord?
Back
I'm
up, back
really
up, back
low,
up,
really
back
low.
up, back up. I need healing. Jumping
Sorry,
up.
heals?
In the air. Go Winston, go Winston.
Winston low. Winston nano.
Genji one, Genji one, Genji one.
Genji dead.
I'm coming.
Yeah, they just dove. They just dove. They just dove you, and like you didn't counter dive. Like if you're playing dive, you need to dive even on defense. Right there, like you didn't dive the Ana once. I forgot what team composition they had, but they were running Ana. They were running Ana, Winston, Diva, Genji, Tracer. I forgot what their other support was. But long story short, if they dive, they start diving your supports, then you just need to counter dive and hope that you guys come out on top, which potentially you could if your Mercy dives with you. That's probably the safest place if you're off tank and your main tank dive, and then one of your DPS, if you have a dive DPS, such as like Tracer or Genji, they dive as well. You kill the Ana, you rotate back to point, and then you dive another target, and kill that target. Use bubble on like Zen corpse, basically res Zen. Your Zen's back. It's immediately now a 5v6, potentially even more, because you'll focus another target onto point, blah blah blah. You didn't really dive anybody, and you didn't really focus any targets. That's why you lost so convincingly on defense here when you're playing dive. But yeah, that's kind of the game. It was good. It was definitely winnable. There were definitely like a lot of mistakes you guys made, but it was definitely, you also did a lot of really good things that made me very happy. You just needed to work better as a team, realistically. If you yeah, all right, they're all plat, and I know that some of you guys aren't necessarily plat. I know some of you guys maybe are like gold or silver or something like that, but it was 100% winnable. In a team-based game, rank doesn't really matter. Like my teams that I play on is a low masters team, and we shit on GM teams all the time because our comms are better, because our plans are better, our team compositions are optimized, stuff like that. We know when to ult, when not to ult, stuff like that. We just play better as a team, and this is why. Like, if individually, if we went against any of those players in our respective roles, we'd probably lose against, like, GM and top 500s. But due to the fact that we just play better as a team, that's why we clap people. Like the people we played against on this past Sunday. They were a high masters team / like they had one GM and then another top 500. Overall, their SR like average was higher, and their top 500 was fucking carrying the shit out of them. They were a Zarya top 500 player, 4,300. They were really, really, really fucking good mechanically, ult-wise, very, very good. But we ended up beating them not through sheer mechanics, but because we were big brain. So you need to start like in game, start thinking more along the lines of what's your win condition, what can you do better, all these things. Like what are you trying to accomplish with this team comp? What type of team comp do we have? Are we really running bunker composition? Not really, because we've got the we're kind of running more anti-dive because we've got the hog. We're not really running bunker composition. Oh, if we drop the hog, then we actually have bunker. Oh, we're not really playing goats, or we're not playing a variation of goats because we don't have the Brigida. So like you have to consider those factors. Yeah, that's kind of overall, I was fairly happy with this, because it's definitely really workable. You guys can do a lot more as long as you focus on team compositions a little bit more, focus on target calling, understanding when somebody's out of position and who's in position, knowing how to play your composition, knowing like using the environmental cover as cover and not taking damage, stuff like that, which just takes time. Also, you can ult track a little bit more. That could definitely help you guys out. But overall, I was fairly happy. You guys did a pretty good job. So it was definitely winnable though. But all right, I hope you enjoyed this. So alrighty, bye bye.